Good afternoon, everyone. I said, good afternoon, everyone. I am Pastor Hart. I want to I am Pastor Harden, and I want to welcome you to this afternoon's program. How many are excited to be here? All right. Amen. 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 We're going to open with a word of prayer. Amen. Let's bow our heads. Heavenly Father, we are appreciative of the life that you have given us. Now, Lord God, as we explore those things that you have given us to make us well, God, we ask, Lord, that your Holy Spirit, the Spirit of truth, instruct us, God. We ask, Lord God, if that those who are sick, Lord God, that the Holy Spirit would just lead them as to how you are doing things, God. And we ask that once this is over, God, that every bit of the glory go to your name. And we ask it in the name of Jesus. Amen. Amen. God bless you. Enjoy.
Good, good evening. Today, the song that I will be singing is the Lord's Prayer. I hope you enjoy it. You know, I have learned that even before you began to pray, God already knows what you are going to pray for. He knows all of your wants and needs. Whether you are praying for health, love, material things, it doesn't matter if you're praying for yourself or for someone else. God knows. Even when Jesus taught his disciples to pray, he simply said, "When you pray, use not vain repetitions as the heathen do, for they think that they shall be heard for their much speaking. Be not ye therefore to them, for the Father knoweth what things you are in need of before you ask. After this manner, therefore, pray ye." Our which art in heaven, hallowed be
Thank you so much, Mr. Chauncey Wells and Samuel Green. Keep us in prayer because Samuel traveled around the world preaching and singing. And on Monday, we have to be in Chicago on Monday because he'll be filming at 3ABN if you all ever heard of that station. And if you have that station or you tune in to that station, you'll get to see a lot of Samuel on 3ABN. Thank you so much. At this time, we have two people that's going to come and give us some testimonies. They've started taking the herbs, and they've seen some great results. So at this time, we're going to have first Miss Glenda Peeler from Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Good evening, everyone. Well, I've been taking the herbs for over a year now. I had sinus problems that I no longer have anymore. I'm taking his herbs. I have a great grandbaby that had seizure problems because he had cerebral palsy, and he's no longer having the problems anymore. I have a brother who had prostate problems, and he's been taking the herbs. He said, I can't get out of them. I have to make sure I have a good supply. And it's been working. His wife has asthma, but she said, Glenda, since I've been taking the herbs, I have no need to use my pump anymore. So the herbs are really working, and God has told us in his word that the leaves of the trees are for the healing of the nation. So no side effects. So that's truly, truly a blessing. And thank you, Dr. Tim, for getting me in touch and letting me know what I need to do to be healthy. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Our next testimony will be Dr. Tisha Bogan, and she's been taking the herbs also. So let's hear what she has to say.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. My name is Tisha Bogan, and I am from this lovely capital city of Jackson, hospitable state of Mississippi. Thank you for inviting me to my Aunt Joanne Green. And I have not a list as long as this other young lady. However, I have been taking the herbs for about 3 weeks, give or take, and my mother is taking them for about 2. So I can testify that I have not been one that used that restroom 3 to 5 times a day. Had no idea you were even supposed to use the restroom that often. So I can truly say that those herbs do exactly what they say they will do. And my mother can attest to it too. She just wasn't able to make it today. So I am not going to be before you long because he has so much more than we to say. So I am going to get this over to him. But thank you so much, and they do what they say they're going to do.
Thank you, Dr. Tisha. And also, my testimony of myself, I've been taking the herbs for about 7 or 8 months, and I had sinus problems too. I've never been back to the doctor. I've been taking the herbs. Not only that, the doctor told me that he would be on medication the rest of his life, suffering with allergies and sinus and things like that. He's been taking the herbs for over 7 or 8 months. He has not been back to the doctor, and no sign of any type of asthma or anything like that. The herbs really, really work. At this time, we're going to be blessed with a musical selection by Miss Danielle Mara, Dr. Mara's daughter, so we just going to enjoy her.
Whacked over here. My name is Danielle Mara, as she said, and I'll be singing You Raise Me Up. And oh, my soul, so weary when troubles come and my heart burden be. When I am still and wait here in the silence until you come and sit a while with me. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong and I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up to more than I can be. Thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful. That was beautiful. She has a beautiful voice. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. At this time, we're going to have the introduction of the speaker by Mrs. Morrow. But before she comes, you know, it's very hard to pull a program together like this by yourself. So you have to have some help. All the flyers you saw in Jackson, posted in the different areas in Jackson, yes, I had a helping hand. And that is none other than Miss Mary Winters. Would you please stand? That's my co-partner. She helped me out a lot, and I really appreciate that. At this time, Mrs. Morrow is going to come and introduce Dr. Morrow.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Mrs. Morrow. I'm the best person to introduce Tim. I just want to say, I wasn't quite sure what I was going to say, but I hear the testimonies that these women are saying. I'm a testimony too. That's how God brought us together, is because I was one of those women who had every female issue you could think of. And he came to save me. He really did, you know, and I am so thankful God has blessed him with what he knows, because the doctors were doing a number on me. And like most of us women, we do what we're told, and then one day we find out we're on 20 different medications and we don't know what's going on with us.
So I am thankful that, in a way, I guess I should be thankful that you got prostate cancer that got you in this business over 30 years ago. He had prostate cancer, and God has blessed him with the knowledge. And to make the products that we have, those are all his developments. He's the ones who put those together. And I just want to say that he's been doing this for over 30 years. And I'm going to leave it at that and let you continue. Okay? Thank you, everybody. Go ahead.
They still hear me. Now, woo, is it alive? Wow. Dr. Wells, that was his name? I just enjoyed the Lord's Prayer, but I enjoyed watching him play that piano. That was beautiful. Thank you. And thank you for inviting me. I was here 25 years ago. I was here in the 80s. I worked down in Hattiesburg. Does anybody remember me from there? Nobody. I was here like probably 4 weeks at a time. I worked out of a radio station on there that was owned by a Seventh-day Adventist guy. But but Mississippi is one of those places that the South is one of those places. I tell people, the South grows the best food in the world. They actually do. They grow the best food in the world. There's no place in America that can raise better food than the South does. But what they do is they ship it out and fry the rest. And I came to tell you that that's partial living, but I'm talking about real living. You know those ladies that was talking about, I wish I could tell those herbs because of me. They'd work in spite of me. I know I'm going to get a bunch of calls when you start using theirs. You're going to call and do what people are doing right now. They're calling me from literally all over the world, accusing me of making them well. I've never made anybody well in my life except me. I'm the only person I can make well. But they acted on my information and they got well. And that's what you do. But it's the herbs that make you well. And the herb is wonderful. But worship the Creator that made them. That's where we're going to go. Is because I'm the first one that got well from taking these herbs. And I had prostate cancer. Ooh, you hear that word cancer, and I'm going, ooh, the end of the world is here. I don't think the cancer is a disease. I think it's a word, but it's a word that destroys. But you know, I've chosen to get to the root of things, and it's called colon root of all disease. And in the Bible says, for the love of money, money is the root of all evil. Now, why do you use the word root? Why do you use the word root? Because if the root is bad, the plant is bad. And that's what the colon root of all diseases. Root of all diseases is that means the CDC at Atlanta, Georgia will tell you that there are 450 known diseases in this country. That means there is 450 diseases named in honor of constipation. Because that's what we suffer with. And what's more is, if you don't take care of it, you won't get well. And the medical field is living proof that you won't, because they never take care of your colon, because they say colon is not a problem. It may be the only problem that we have. But I know there's at least 450 diseases named in honor of cancer is one of them. So on and on it goes. So here's the bottom line to the colon. If you don't take care of the colon, even if there was something wrong with you, if you don't take care of the colon, you would never know what it was. Why? Because the colon continues to feed the bloodstream, the waste that we're trying to get rid of. When it comes out of your head, they call it dandruff. If it comes out of your face, they acne. It comes out of the skin, they got eczema, psoriasis, yeast infection, strep throat, athlete's foot. They're all the same thing. The waste coming out of a different place in the body. So what are you going to do, work on all of them? I don't. I work on the source. And the source is the colon. Take care of the colon. Even, I don't care what you think about blood pressure or diabetes or whatever you want to name it. Work on the colon. Remember now, I came up in the 30s. I'm 83 years old. So I came up in the 30s. And let me tell you, at that time in the 30s, if you went to the hospital, the first thing they did was gave you an enema. That was the first thing they did, was gave you an enema. You know when they stopped doing that? When they found out that the colon was their buddy. That's where they could make the money. And it's the cash cow. Today, they don't even, if they're going to do something with the colon, it's cut it open, operate on you. And that just adds to the problem that we already have. So let me tell you about the colon. Let me tell you about it, so that, because I also want to be able to answer your questions, but I want to answer your question in my delivery before you even ask it. I want to be able to answer that question in what I'm saying to you. First of all, let me see if this thing works. This is all mechanical now. Remember, this ain't my fault. I don't think. Well, not working. Where is he? Oh, he, okay. Nope. Yes, it's on. Here. I thought it was the other one. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Colon, root of all disease. Now, and this is one of my sayings. I say that growing old is not an option. Growing sick is. Why growing sick is? Because we have something to do with our illness or our wellness, whichever one you want. That's a choice. To be well or not be well, or let somebody else take care of you, or you take care of yourself. I learned they betrayed me for my insurance. They won't do that again. So I got rid of my insurance. I didn't get rid of the doctor. I just got rid of my insurance. I was no longer prey. So the bottom, growing old is not an option, but growing sick is. So I like to talk about the colon. That thing is very tiny, huh? Well, let me explain a little bit about this colon, though. The colon is also called our large intestine. It's as long as we are tall. Just as long as we are tall. The diameter of colon is equal to that of our wrist. For every foot of colon, we can store approximately 5 to 10 pounds of waste. I think that's an understatement. I think we store from 10 to 20 pounds of waste, and some of us got that much in us. A healthy person will have at least 3 to 5 bowel movements a day. You can't eat 3 times a day and tell me you had a bowel movement and you're well. Something's wrong with that. Where's the rest of that food? A healthy bowel movement will measure 12 inches long, 12 to 18 inches long, and the colon is, as long as we are tall, so it's about 7 feet. It's about 7 feet long in an adult. It absorbs fluid 8 to 10 times every 30 minutes. It is not only absorbs the water, it also stores all of our minerals. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Colon has a referral area similar to the reflexology points on the hand and feet. You've heard of reflexology or iridology. Well, the nerves in the feet, the hands, the ears, and the eyes. So that's all they're saying here. To the degree your colon is clean is the degree your bloodstream is clean. So once again, the colon is the root of all disease. Remember, it's the root, so don't work on the plant. Work on the root. That's why I'm here to tell you about how to do that. The ascending controls the aging process in the body. The ascending colon is, take a look at that. But that's what our colon looks like. That's not what it should look like, but that's what it does look like. But if you take a look at the colon here, you'll see that the ascending colon, that's the colon that goes up, that comes up, goes across, goes down, and out. So the ascending colon controls the aging process, and it really does. The worse that colon is, the more age we have on us. One colonic, or if you don't know what a colonic is, enema, is equal to 3 days of fasting, and fasting is everything. Fasting is, anybody who has fasting in mind, you got one of the nicest things in the world going for you, because what the body does need from time to time, rest from digestion. We digest while we're asleep. And the stomach's supposed to be empty when you go to bed. Get rid of those nightmares too. Yeah. And let me tell you something. If you are a meat eater, especially things like beef, pork, if you eat that and go to bed within an hour, you're flirting with death. The reason is because the heart attacks that are fatal are the ones that happen in the middle of the night. Yeah, the guy came home and she had taken a steak and a potato waiting for him. He warmed it up and he ate and he went to bed, and she woke up the next morning a widow. Why? Because the body needs the blood to flow continuously to digest the food. But when it doesn't, the body will wake you up. It'll do everything it can to wake you up. But if it don't, a heart attack is inevitable, and those heart attacks that happen in the middle of the night are almost always fatal. They don't usually survive, simply because it didn't have enough blood to digest the food. And you can't lay down and digest. You need to set up to digest. So that's just some of the things that we all do. Not working for me. Is it ever? I wanted to show you those colons up there, because they got a different name for all of them, but all of them represents one thing: constipation. All of them represent. They got let me see if I get that. Ain't me, is it? Oh, there we go. This is a normal colon. The one at the top there, right, is left is a normal colon. But all the rest of those cold, stricture, a spasm, ballooned sigmoid, diverticular, prolapses with colon on the uterus, with pressure on the uterus. All of those are constipation. But look at all the names. And that's where we've been really fooled, is to believe that there are all these diseases. God did not put us on earth to catch diseases. That is, yeah, how can you worship a God like that? Let me tell you something. Every 90 days we have new blood. Every 11 months we have new organ. Every 2 years we have new bones. And I say, how you know you have new bones? Anybody ever broke a bone in here? Been 30 years ago, is it still broken? How'd that bone mend back together? Because God put the body together to heal itself. And that's what it is. But he gave us what we need to make sure that it's the raw material. What's the raw material? The raw material is herbs. Nobody hear me say vitamins, minerals, drugs? Because I didn't say those. I said plants. Even the vitamins, the minerals, and the drugs come from the plants. But it's God's creation violated. Yeah. If you take God's herb like the cow does, ever notice the cow doesn't turn it into a vitamin before she eats it? No. She eats it like God gives it to her. And these herbs that I put together, they're put together. This is what happened to them. They're picked, dried in the sun. They're pulverized into a powder and pressed into a pill. There's nothing added and nothing taken away. That's why they work. They don't work because of Tim. They work because God said they work. They're under direct order from the commander-in-chief to do the job, and that's what they do. So, but start with the colon. These are our channels of elimination. Listen to these. We got the colon, the lung, the colon, the kidneys, the lungs, the skin. These are all channels of elimination. You know what I mean by channels of elimination? It means to get rid of what you ate. That's what it means, to get rid of what you ate. And you have to understand that you have to eliminate every ounce you ate. So the food is not the finished process. The food is the raw material, but every ounce of it has to come out of your body. It's obvious body can't use it. So what does it use? It uses the life that's in the plant. It uses the life that's in the plant. And then the organs take over and they do the rest of the job, because we cannot use the food at all. So the colon, the lung, the colon, the kidney, the lung, and the skin. And for women, they got a fifth channel of elimination. That's what the menstrual cycle is about. That's a monthly house cleaning, and it is not a choice. It is not a luxury. You will have it, and if you don't, you will live a miserable existence, and everybody around you will live that same miserable existence, if you know what I mean. Okay, let's see now. I know that there's people sitting here right now saying, well, I'm at this lecture. This is the wrong lecture because I'm not constipated. Okay, maybe you aren't. So let's take a look. Let's take a look. Here's the thing. If you have a bowel movement with it, and these are 5 things that must exist if you're not constipated. One is a bowel movement within an hour after you eat, every time you eat. That will explain why you take the dog out after he eats. It'll also explain why an infant baby will be eating and eliminating at the same time. He's not eliminating what he's eating. He's eliminating what he ate half an hour ago. Do you understand? Because when you eat, something falls into the stomach. That that's in the stomach goes to the small intestine. That's in the small intestine, pushes that's in the large intestine. As an adult, within an hour, we should have a bowel movement. These are things that explain itself. Remember, I don't know if I said this. I didn't even say this. I bring you greetings from the University of Common Sense. So what I say here has to be common sense. You understand? I don't have a college education, so I can't help you there. But I do have common sense, and I use it. My wife's got good old common sense too. In fact, she's the bookkeeper. She's the chief everything. And she don't have a college education, but she runs a pretty tight ship. I'm going to give that to her. Number 2, the colon is 2.5 inches round. The waist from it should be 2 inches round. Number 3, the stool should float on top of the water. That means what you ate had life in it. It had oxygen in it, and it floats on top of the water. Let me tell you something, folks. You can test that out. The next time you get into a swimming pool, fill your lungs full of air and try to settle on the bottom. Can't. Why? Because the lungs are full of air, but as you let that air out, you go right to the bottom. Well, that's the same thing I'm talking about with this waste. Aunt Jemima and Uncle Ben does go right to the bottom of the bowl. Why? Because it's glue. We're fortunate it came out. And the worst part is only 1/3 of it came out. The other 2/3 is stuck to the wall, the floor, the ceiling of the colon. And 30 years after you ate it, it's still there. And we're wondering, why do I have diabetes? Why do I have that? Why? Because the waste is there and it's still destroyed. And then when you decide that you're going to use a drug to get rid of it, let me tell you what the CEO, the Chief Executive Officer of Eli Lilly, said. You know who Eli Lilly is, folks? Eli Lilly is the largest manufacturer of drugs on earth. Okay? And the Chief Executive Officer said this. You tell me what you want to do with it, but this is what he said. He said, if it ain't got a side effect, it ain't a drug. So if you want to suffer with the side effects, you can do that. But he said that, and there is a side effect. I don't want to deal with side effects. I want, if I die from anything, just don't let me die from taking drugs that cause a side effect of something I don't want. So I don't use drugs of any kind. In fact, it's been 37 years since I saw a doctor. Okay. If you got, the other number 4 thing is odor, the odor of the waste. Nothing is to decay in us. Everything should be gone within 6 hours, but 24 hours is the maximum anything. Yet and still they remove waste from people that's been on 27 years. So something's got to happen. It's decayed and it's creating problem. Also, let me see if I can go back on this. See the print on the colon? You can see that print all over the colon. That print is also on the inside of the colon. So when you eliminate, that print should be on the waste. That means it came off of the wall, the floor, the ceiling of the colon, and we did not tunnel eliminate right through the center, and this is what we do. And all this waste remains on the wall, the floor, the ceiling of the colon 30 years after we ate it. Now you know why we think that we have to suffer with all of these diseases. No, you don't. No, you don't. Every 90 days we have new blood. Every 11 months we have new organ. Every 2 years you have new bone. That means if you built your bones with Aunt Jemima, you're going to get Aunt Jemima bones. Because that's what you planted, and that's what you're going to receive. 2 things you know about planting. 1 is you're going to get back what you planted, and 2 is you're going to get more than you planted. Here's some of the effects that you have from constipation: bloating, belching, vomiting, fluxence, diarrhea, bloody stools, nausea, fever, chills, heartburn, acid reflux, skin breakouts, tiredness, acne, overweight, hard to breathe, athlete's foot, hemorrhoids, migraines, mood swing. Incidentally, folks, hemorrhoids come solely from constipation. There's no other reason for hemorrhoids. Solely from constipation. Okay? One of the things I want to show you on this is, you can't probably see what those letters say over there, but the colon is hooked to every organ in the body. Every organ in the body is represented in the colon. So that's the reason why keeping it clean. Let me tell you something. if you didn't do nothing else for the rest of your life but take care of the colon, if you didn't do nothing else, don't take nothing, no herbs or nothing else, your health would get at least 50% better, but probably more like 70% better. I'm still able to roller skate 3 miles a day. You know, if I'm bragging, I guess I'm bragging on God's herbs, because I tell you something, it is very nice to be at 83 years old. I don't just skate. I put 5-pound weights on my legs, and the skates weigh 5 pounds each. And I still do that. I love being able to do that. This morning, I'm a member of Planet Fitness, and I did 624 steps this morning before I came here. Climbed 624 steps. And guess what? I'm still sharp enough up here. I fly airplanes and helicopters. I don't mean the remote. I'm talking about I fly airplanes and helicopters. I'm still sharp enough to do that. So if I'm bragging on what God's herbs have done for me. I run it because I feel great. Now I want to show you something, ladies. Let me tell you the reason why. How Ellen White said that. She said, if women don't learn, because women teach the household. So that means they teach the community, which means they teach the world. And if women don't learn this, how to take care of the body, the only thing we can look forward to is another generation of this inexcusable ignorance. So let's make a change. I think that the greatest way to worship God is with the only thing we own, our bodies. That's all we own. Let me tell you, I don't care what you amass while you're here. When you leave, you're going to leave it here. Only thing you're going to take is what you brought, and that was your body. Okay? So let's honor God by keeping the body well, making the body well. So here's this next picture I really want to show you ladies. Look at how beautiful that is. That's the female reproductive system with the colon. Okay? The reason why I talk about the female reproductive system is because the female reproductive system is also a channel of elimination. That monthly house cleaning is a channel of elimination. But it's always from the day you're born till the day you die. Even you're the tiniest little baby, it's a channel of elimination. And whatever age you get, it'll be a channel of elimination. So when you have that removed, that's major surgery. That is major surgery. So I want to show you some things that happen when you do that. This thing don't show up on it. Oh, let me show it this way then. This is the female reproductive system. You see this T, how it stands up there? So this is not an empty void, folks. There's 20 feet of small intestine in there. So that's not an empty void. He's just showing you this picture of the reproductive system and the colon. But this right here, there's 20 feet of small intestine in there, and they join the large intestine right about there. But the reason why I'm showing you this is because this is the uterus. And you have this removed. Look at what you've removed. That's major surgery. So let me show you another picture. That's that same reproductive system, but the colon has fallen on top of the uterus. So you got 2 channels of elimination in trouble. 2 channels of elimination in trouble. This is also what I call an insidious situation, meaning much more dangerous than it appears. Much more dangerous than it appears. This right here is the mouth of the vagina. When they remove this, oh, incidentally, why would that fall like that? Called constipation. Because that fell because of the weight of the waist. That's why it fell. Constipation. What did I say the name of this subject? Ruling? What is this? What's that? What's that in? Yeah. It's colon, root of all disease. Why would you have to have a hysterectomy? And then, incidentally, I want to tell you what that word hysterectomy really means. I'm going to tell you about that in a little bit. But this right here is the mouth of the vagina. Let's go backward. This has fallen on top of this. This is the mouth of the vagina. This is the rectum. They're far apart from each other. So the woman who's had a hysterectomy 20, 30, 40 years ago, guess what she's complaining about today? She's complaining that the small intestine, in here, is now coming down through the vagina. So it's like jumping out of the frying pan into the fire. And doctors have no problem removing that. It's kind of like the doctor said, God made a few mistakes here. We're going to correct them for him. But that's basically what it's saying. But also look at this. This right here is your stomach. That's where your food falls when you eat. Look at it here. Not only has it fallen accordingly, but it's now created an acid puddle. What do you think a doctor called that acid puddle? Acid reflux. That's acid. That acid comes from the stomach. It is strong, strong acid. It is strong. Even when you see an advertisement on television, they warn you about the side effects because the acid is never to go backward, only down. And when it backs up into here, it burns. I mean, plain of it. That acid is never supposed to come backward, always supposed to go forward. So it creates a story within itself. So just having a look at what's going on with the colon will make you know that if you don't take care of the colon, you will not get well. I didn't come here to say this is a fad. This is actually a way of life. I discovered this 37 years ago. I have never let up for one day. It is nothing for me to take 200 herbs a day. Nothing. Absolutely nothing for me to do that. But when I was out there, I used to turn the whiskey bottle upside down. I did it with gusto. How come I can't get well with the same gusto? And that's the reason why I'm doing it the way I do it. But I'm going to tell you something. I love the way I feel more than anything else. When you say to Americans, how do you feel? They say, fine. They don't really mean that. We don't feel good. Because we don't eat good. And then when we don't eat good, we take a drug, which makes us feel worse. And then after that is surgery, and that makes you even feel worse. And then there's chemotherapy and radiation, and mercifully, God will allow us to die. But somewhere along the line, I got to be responsible. So let me tell you what I asked God. I asked God, I said, God, you made a statement. But it's a general statement. What do you mean by my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge? And he decided he's going to tell me. He said, my people are destroyed. I said, by who, God? He said, by the pharmaceutical industry via the doctor. That made sense to me. Then I said, but there's more to it. I said, a lack of knowledge. I want to know lack of knowledge of what? And he said, lack of knowledge of your own body, Tim. You don't know anything about the house that you live in. Nothing. He said, you've been to the moon and back, and you don't even know the house. You can't thank me. You don't know nothing about it. Because if you knew about it, you would thank me over and over and over and over. Because he put us in a miracle. Our body would make the Milky Way look like a firecracker. That's how powerful, that's how great the human body is. We're the top of God's created order. We're the top of it. But we don't act like it. And you know, the other thing God always adds to it is, he says to me, Tim, when you go to the doctor, or whoever you go to help you get well, you don't know whatever they're saying, you have to agree with it. Because if you said to the doctor, well, I'm not going to do what you said, the doctor's going to say, what you come here for? You come here to say you're not going to do this? What do you? He said, but the worst part is, what you don't know your body, but he knows less. He knows less than you. So whatever stupid thing he tells you to do, you have to do it. Why? Because we don't know the first thing about the house that God gave us to live in. Because if it did, life would change for you. Because when I tell you every 90 days new blood, every 11 months new organ, every 2, that's a miracle within itself. But you do get well. That sore that you had on your arm, how long did it stay? 6 years before it healed? No. It healed right away. And that healing power is still within us. And that's what I'm saying when I say that only the body can heal itself. Nobody I wish I could. I'd walk up to you and heal you. But you know why God don't let us heal each other? He does that for a reason. Because he knows that you standing up there talking to your sister or your brother, and they'd be saying, I'm not going to heal myself. And you'd be going, you're not going to heal. Then I'm going to heal you. Now you've taken away somebody else's rights. When Christ walked on earth, did you ever see any place where he was among these multitudes where he blanket healed the whole crowd? No place in the Bible. No place did he ever do that. Why? Because he knew he'd be violating somebody's will. Everybody does not necessarily want to be well. You know, it is that simple. So the healing comes from within, which means how serious are you about getting healed? Are you serious enough to trust yourself? Are you going to trust somebody else? And I got to admit, we've been brainwashed pretty good. I'm one of them. Been brainwashed pretty good. I mean, I would say to people, do what the doctor says. You know, no, the doctor's sick also. I don't mean that in a negative manner. He's sick. He's no more well than any one of his patients. Any one of his patients. So it's time for us to learn how to take care. If all you do is take care of this unit, nothing else. Why? Because this unit will clean 50 units. It'll clean, if you take care of that, 20 other things. You know, that arthritis you got, the arthritis would disappear. When I started taking the herbs, I started taking them because I had a prostate cancer. The herbs was able to do in 2 days what drugs couldn't do in 5 years. But when I started taking, I'm taking only for my prostate. But when I would stand up, this left knee would set me back down. I mean, it would pain them. About 3 weeks after I started taking their herbs, that disappeared for the first time in 5 years. It's 37 years later. It's never come back. I'm still able to do the things that I did when the numbers were reversed. And I like being able to do them. More than anything else, I like the way I feel, because health has one of those wonderful things that gives you a freedom that you never knew before in your life. So taking care of the colon alone will get rid of 20, 30 problems. In fact, I literally have had people start growing their hair back. They're gray-headed, start growing their hair back, and it grows back black. Don't start looking for that, but I'm just telling you. If we get rid of this germ theory, we'll be so much better off, because germs is the results of the way you live. You hear me? Germs is, let me tell you what I mean by that. If germs was going through the air like we say they are, you got to be careful because this germ is out there. Birds would come falling out of the sky because they breathe the same air we do. So they wouldn't be able to fly. But they take 2 garbage cans. This is something you can do yourself. Take 2 garbage cans, put them outdoors side by side. Put a cover on both of them. And put plenty of garbage in that one can, but leave the other one clean. Don't do nothing. Come back in a week. Which one do you think those will have the action going? They're going to be where the garbage is. Why? Because there's something to eat. But that's a result of what I did with my waste. It's the result of what I did with my own waste. You understand? I didn't put none in that clean can, and there's nothing wrong with it. That's the same with you. If you clean inside, you're not going to have any problem. That's not rocket science, folks. That's as simple as it can be. It is the result of the way we live. That's the only time germs show up on the scene. But if I can keep you thinking that germs is the answer and that I have a drug that will take care of that germ, God does. God does. Look at all the animals. I think to myself sometimes, I talk about this standing before God. And God says to me, Tim, what about your health? And I say to God, listen, Lord, I huffed and I puffed, but I never was able to get enough money to go to school and become a doctor and learn how to take care of my body. And God's going to say to me, Tim, what about the messenger? What about the messenger I sent you? I said, Lord, he never reported to me. He said it was my dog. He said, did you ever notice that he never was standing at a pharmacy barking for drugs? But you see him out there eating the grass. Even the dog knows that the blueprint to his body is in the earth that he came from. All the animals on earth honors God by using the herbs that he gave us. We can too. But it's not a fad. I did not come here to make a fad. This is a way of life. If you don't have time to take care of yourself, I'm okay with that. But if you're going to take care of yourself, there are things that you must do when you change, and be aware of what is going to happen, because when you take herbs, the herbs have to undo what you've done. You're not going to take the herb and poof, you're well. That's not going to happen. That's what drugs promise. But they didn't do that. They made you sicker. So it is a way of life. Let me give you a quick example of what happened to me. When I was 19, I was in the Air Force. And I got pneumonia. And they put me in the hospital for 2 weeks. I was in the hospital for 2 weeks. They gave me a penicillin shot. 1,200,000 units of penicillin every hour on the hour round the clock. Every hour on the hour. I mean, they wake me up all night giving me a shot of penicillin because I had pneumonia. I was 19 years old. At 71, it came out. 52 years later, it came out. And I sat on my couch to die. I told my wife, I'm going to die right here on this couch, but I have a right to die in my house. Just make sure I'm dead when they take me out of here. and let me tell you something. I sat on that couch panting. That's where I was breathing, because it dries, the antibiotic dries up all the mucus in your lungs. And 90% of all Americans will die by drowning in their own mucus. 90% of all Americans will die that way. Remember the old folks called it the death rattle. It literally, the lungs fills totally up. There's no place for it to go. It spills backward into the windpipe. And we suffocate in our own mucus. You know, that mucus was built by our kinfolks. Here's our kinfolks. Yeah. Sarah Lee, Uncle Ben. There's our uncle, our aunt, and our friends. Yeah. That's the side effect of processed food. It builds mucus at alarming rates. And in fact, the first real sign of illness is the snotty-nosed baby that can't even walk yet. At 70, he drowns in that mucus. That's what we can look forward to. Continuing to do what our ancestors has told us to do, along with these things, along with what they do to the food. I mean, trying to make the food tasty, because they take everything out. Everything's created in a laboratory now. In fact, one of the reasons why they pay farmers not to grow certain crops is because so much of it is produced in the laboratory, there'd be no market for his good food that came out of the earth that God gave us. And we're eating it, not to mention the GMO and all the stuff that they've done. I'm talking about all the things that they've done to food, that when God grew the food, it was good. What did he say at the end? He said it wasn't good. He said it was very good. You know what I mean? Man has to research what God has done. I didn't. When I put the herbs together, I didn't research none of that. I got those dry herbs. I put them together, and they work. They got all kinds of things that they have to use in the food now because it's no longer food, like this stabilizers, thickeners, fat replacers, mixture of substances, firming textures, appearance control, bread improvement. You know, you get your bread now and it says enriched. It was already enriched. They took all that out and then they artificially enriched it. That's what they've done to us. Whey. All those wonderful people that are taking that whey protein, let me tell you what whey protein is. Whey protein is the waste from making cheese. It is the waste from, and in the North Country, there is mountains of it. I want you to know, if you drive along the highway and you see Milwaukee, there ain't no mountains up there, folks. Not none that God put up there. That's mountains of this whey, this waste that they throw. So what are they doing? They're feeding it back to us, and they feed it, they put it in everything. But these poor bodybuilders are buying it by the 5-pound thing. And it's building their body. They don't understand why they're having trouble breathing, because it's dairy product. And I know you're saying it's dairy product. The reason why you don't drink milk is because you're not a cow. If for no other reason, the only reason why you don't drink milk is because you're not a cow, which is also the same reason why you don't drink a dog's milk. You're not a puppy. God intended for you to drink from your own kind. We're the only one that drinks from another species. Only one that drinks from another species, and the only one that drinks milk again after it's weaned. Nothing drinks milk again after it's weaned except the intelligent one. The food and dyes are dangerous that they put in the food. But there is a way out. It's called good nutrition. Good nutrition is fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, grains, lentil, beans, melon, legume. That's just a few of the things that God has given us to eat. So it's really imperative that you start with a diet. One of the things my wife always does, I don't care how much I talk about the earth, she always says, you can change your diet. Changing your diet is the one thing that you do, and it means you believe in yourself. You believe in something that you can do for you. And when people change their diet and lose 20 pounds, and they've been struggling with everybody else's thing, and can't lose 1 pound, gain 10, well, changing the diet can make that kind of difference. Shopping in the produce department of the supermarket. So regardless of what and now they got something going on, things like buying organic or farmers markets, you know, things like that. But these are things that you can do for yourself. When you start talking about the herbs, well, that's my expertise, but they made me well. Remember I was telling you, I'm going to tell you a story, because I started my prostate problem when I was 43. I was 43 years old. When I was 48, I fired all my doctors because all I got was worse. And I fired all my doctors. That was 5 years. 43 to 48, I fired all my doctors. When I was 60, that young lady that's saying here, I reproduced her. So prostate worked perfect. You understand? So she's 23 years old. So we know it's worked for 23 years. You know? So the bottom line to this is that, you know, people are going to say, well, did you ever go back to the doctor? No. The doctor's got a prostate problem too. He had to know what to do about it. You're putting too much faith in somebody who doesn't know anything, and you really are. But you can see that America is not getting better. With all the breakthroughs in medicine, America is not getting better. So what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? And let me tell you something. The whole point is it don't cost you $40,000 to get started on this. If all you did was decided to work with the colon, like the lady said a while ago, she didn't even know you're supposed to have more than one bowel movement a day. She had before and 5. And let me tell you what I mean by constipation, folks. Let me tell you what I mean by getting well. When I talk about constipation, I'm talking about when you start taking that herb called Superlax, it's going to send you to the bathroom. Now, you're not, first thing you think is, oh, I'm going to be out of control. No, you're not. Because I put it together along with things that makes you have solid stool rather than diarrhea. So what I'm saying about constipation is when you have to flush the toilet twice while you're sitting there because the bowl is full and won't take no more, and the odor drives you out, then you begin to understand what I mean by constipation. Because I'm not talking about constipation from yesterday. I'm talking about constipation from 1980 and earlier. And so, but if you're going to get well, that's the first. And one other thing. If you don't start there, don't start. I'm telling you, if you don't start with the bottle, don't start. Don't start taking some herbs expecting to get better. Because herbs stir up waste immediately. You must give it away out. I'm not talking about just my herbs. I'm talking about anybody's herbs that you start taking anywhere in the world. You make sure that you are taking an herbal laxative because it stirs up waste. And that's exactly what you want to do. And your only problem, well, I know you're thinking that you have a disease that only 2 people on earth have it now, you and somebody in Puerto Rico. No, you don't. And you don't have no so-called disease that God can't take care of. And don't underestimate God's herbs. No, and that's an underestimation. That don't underestimate God's herbs. These are not Tim's herbs. These are God's herbs. They work. Tim is the biggest user of them. But I use them in the name of God. I don't, when I walk through the warehouse where I am and all the herbs are there, I say to God, God, I want you to bless each bottle. I want you to bless each pill. And when people leave, I get a chance to see them when they purchase the herbs. And I see them walking out, and I'll say to God, God, show them your glory. Show them who you really are. And he does. And he does. Those 2 ladies just testified to that. But I literally have people calling from all over the world accusing me of making them well. And I like that. I like that. That's the reason why we do as much as we can to give information, because nobody gives you information about drugs, but we're willing to take them anyhow. Nobody gives you information, and when they do, they put it in a book and hope you don't read it. But I want you to know that's the reason why we, my wife and I, every Tuesday and Thursday evenings at 5:30, our local time, we're on the air. We're talking to people. They got questions, and we answer their questions. Every first and third Monday, we have a meeting at our place. But we got 6, 8 people. We got 6, 8 people there that can answer your questions. And I can't answer all the questions. I can't answer all the questions. Activity, let me tell you something. Activity is one of the best things in the world you can do. Because actually, the colon works quickly when you start moving the leg. You can just stand there and do this. And the colon will start. But if you walk, do any kind of activity, you'll really see the difference. And these things are, I mean, all this is eating food. You know what it is about food? You need to eat food that burns clean. It has to burn clean. When it burns clean, it leaves no residue. The residue is called the waste of the colon, the waste of the lungs, the waste of the skin. But fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, grains, lentil, beans, melon, they burn clean. That's what God intended for us to use. They burn clean. They don't leave a residue. That's what this is about. It's telling people how we got all kinds of, this is some common sense to some of the products that I put together. Some of these herbs I put together before I met my wife, but she helped me tremendously in a lot of them. So we put together herbs that work. And on the bottle, on every bottle, guess what it has on there? It says on the side in a little red writing, it says, for kids too. That doesn't say keep out of the reach of children. That's right. It works on everything from the fetus to the graveyard. All you have to do is use it. You don't have to believe in them. They'll make a believer out of you. So what's my message to you? Growing old does not make us sick. It's growing sick that makes us old. That's true. I like what this guy said. He did a lot of teaching for me. There he is. He said, health is not everything, but without it, everything is nothing. And I mean, that's something we should all know. If you ain't got good health and you got a pocket full of money, you don't even feel like spending it. You know? So that's what this is all about. Yes. Okay. I'm trying to show you some of the things. Oh, okay. Remember I was saying every first and third Monday we have lectures at our place. If you guys are welcome to fly out. Be nice to have a meeting like this, and on our Tuesday and Thursday evening, you can write this down. Write that number down because the code and the number is there. You don't have to say a word. You can just listen. You can listen to people on the dialysis machine talking about how they've gotten off of it, what the herb is doing for them, and and things like that. You can look on there. That number is 624472 pound. Oh, you can read that. Huh? What? Yeah, that's what I said, the code. That's the code. The telephone number is 712-770-4005. That code is what I never remember. That's the reason why I say it first. So I'm going to let my wife say it. Come here. She will. Oh, yeah.
Hello? Okay.
There you go.
He's not done. He's going to do a question and answers
Yeah.
right now, and you're going to talk about hysterectomy.
Oh, yeah, I did get to that.
Okay, that's important.
Yeah.
And hot flashes.
Yeah.
Okay, I know you women want to know about
Yeah.
hot flashes too. Okay. So real quick, because he's going to continue a Q&A. So we're going to hand out, we have a pamphlet here. We're going to go ahead and hand one out to everybody. And also, just to clarify a little bit more, that on every first and third Mondays, we have lectures. We're from Torrance, California. We came in from California. Our office is in Torrance. It's Common Sense Products. Our teaching site is the University of Common Sense, okay? Any of you are welcome to come out to California anytime. Let us know when you're coming out, and we'll welcome you, okay? During the week, we do have a conference called Joan and Mary, and quite a few others of you, I think, have been on our conference calls. They're usually Tuesdays and Thursdays at 5:30 p.m. California time. We ask that you sign up for our email list, because when we're traveling, we don't do the conference calls. It's hard for us. We try to do them twice a week, sometimes once a week, but we do them weekly when we can, okay? And also, just to let you know that we weren't planning on bringing product, but we did bring some product to sell today. We're going to be selling in the room over here after the lecture. We didn't bring our whole selection. We just brought the colon cleanser, the PMS, the male combination, Head Start, and the maintenance. So we only brought like 5 products with us, okay? For the other products, what we did supply, for some of you who can't stay, we have a free shipping. We're going to give out a free shipping card. So for those of you who have to leave, or it's good for a week until next Monday. As long as you have the code, you can share it with your friends, your family, with anybody. Okay, you don't have to necessarily be here for the lecture. Okay, and the code is free ship, and we put ML for Mississippi, Louisiana. That's where we're going on this trip. Okay, so, but we do have the cards. We're going to hand that out, all right? So, and my excuse me. Okay, we're going to hand out the pamphlets, okay? My daughter, Danielle, Lisa, they're going to be here in the other room to answer any other questions that you may have. And
I'll be there too.
So Tim right now is going to talk about hysterectomy, hot flashes, and answer your questions, okay?
Not just hot flashes, but I'm going to ask a question because I know that most women know what they said. You know what cellulite is? No. Do you know what it is? You know what they call it. You know what they call cellulite. But do you know what it actually is? Huh? Fat. They're saying fat. Well, men eat the same rotten food you eat, and they don't get no, I don't care how overweight they become, they get no cellulite. Why? Why? Why is that? So you know what that means? That means there's something that women do that men don't do. Wonder what that is. Yeah, they have babies, but why do they have babies? Huh? That's right. The menstrual cycle. That's what it is. Cellulite is unfinished menstrual cycles. Hot flashes is the menstrual cycle being flushed through the skin because it can't get out the right way. And the right way is through the vaginal area. And the reason why it can't is because women take no female hormones. Men don't take no male hormones. That's the reason why they have a problem with the prostate. That's the reason why they suffer with it. They take no female hormones. You know why? Because female hormones found in crazy places like fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, grains, lentil, beans. Who eats that stuff? We eat white rice, white sugar, pastas, pizzas, meat, spaghetti, macaroni, and cheese. Especially that mac and cheese, right? That's what that is. That comes basically from dairy products. And it is part of the constipation. That's all it is. Everything stems from, it's colon root of all disease is what I really mean. I'm not just saying that to make a title. That's what it is. If you don't take care of the constipation, you wouldn't know what's wrong with you, even if there was something wrong with you. Fortunately, there's nothing wrong with you once you take care of the constipation. But that's what it is. The other thing I wanted to talk about, other thing I'm talking about was the hysterectomy. Anybody know what that means? Well, if women really understood what that meant, if the women understood what that meant, they'd really never have a hysterectomy, because it means, it comes from the word hysterical. Women are hysterical. So all you have to do is remove their uteruses and their breasts and all that, and you got a tame woman. That was a time when a woman got out of line, her husband would have her neutered and spaded, and he could do that. He had the right to do that. That's what it comes from, the word hysterical, that all women are hysterical. And so if you remove all of their inward parts, you can tame them. That's what it really meant. So it comes from the word, that's even what they use now, they call histo ovary. Oh, and they do the ovaries. It's histo. It comes from the word hysterical. So unless you want to agree with them that women are hysterical, stop having your insides cut out. Because I think we stand before God, and God said, woman, where is your uterus? What you going to tell him? Don't tell him you gave it to the doctor. You're going to say, the doctor didn't give it to you. You know what we are? We are a lease. And we're supposed to be returned to the leaseor, minus wear and tear, in the best shape that we can. That's what I want to do. I got some bills to pay. They took out my tonsils. They took out my tonsils when I was young. So I still got to answer to God for that. But I did that out of ignorance. And most of it did out of ignorance, you know what I mean? God only holds us accountable for the light that we have. But he also holds us accountable for the light we refuse. Okay? That's what this is about. I really would like to answer some questions for you, if I could. Yes. Oh, okay. Okay. You got the floor.
Okay, we're gonna give Dr. Morrow a little water break for right now. And at this time, we're just so glad that Dr. Morrow have come to share this information with us. I hope and pray that you have learned something from this and that you will take something away and you will share it with family, friends, and other people. You know, when I was at the Healthway store in Ridgeland. I was looking for some herbs or something for my sinus. And it was a lady that told me, she said, go on the computer and research this doctor. His name is Dr. Zabi. She said, go and look for him and research it. But when I got on that computer and I started researching, Dr. Morrow popped up. So I know it was God. It was a divine intervention. And when God bless you, and you find someone like Dr. Morrow, when he bless you, you know what you should do? Share it and bless other people. So I just really appreciate Dr. Morrow and his family coming to bless us with this information so we can get back to eating and live on top of the world. At this time, our pastor's going to come. We're going to do a love offering. Pastor Harden.
How many are enjoying what you're hearing? Amen, amen. We're going to ask that our deacons come at this time. I'm appreciative of what's being presented in the spirit. When she told me he was coming, she did not give me a bill. Amen. What that says is that this is out of love. So we want you to share, just be a blessing to the Morrows. I also want to tell you, and then afterwards we'll get back to the program. If anyone needs to use the restroom, there are restrooms here, and there are also restrooms in the rear section as well. So please take advantage of those at this time so you don't miss. Lastly, all right, I need my deacons to come. All right, lastly, for those who have missed anything, we are live streaming this event. If you'll do a search, don't do it now because I don't want you to crash the stream, but if you go on YouTube and search for Berean SDA Church, Jackson, Mississippi, Berean SDA Church, Jackson, Mississippi, you will see a live stream of this event along with the PowerPoints and everything like that. So if you missed something, if you missed the numbers, you can go online afterwards and actually pull that video up and see it.
Have a list of the price sheets for the herbs. So if anyone would like a list of that price sheet of the herbs, and let me just say this, you can also, if she doesn't have the herbs today, you can order those herbs online. And I am available to the seniors, some of the seniors that are here. I've already helped people. If you need help in ordering these herbs, you need my help, just let me know and I'll be available to help you even after they are gone. And also, the shipping cards. If you need a shipping card, raise your hand, free shipping. Price sheets. My usher's gonna come and give you a price sheet. Shipping cards.
Okay, just to let everybody know, if you don't get a free shipping card, I do have some here, but it's just for the shipping. Just remember, free shipping ML. That's all you need to know. Free shipping ML. You call the office, you say you're here at this event, say free shipping ML. They'll give it to you. Even if you forget the shipping code and you call the office, just say I was at the Berean church at the event, they'll give it to you. It's so simple. Okay, it's so simple. We're handing out the price sheets. Some people have questions on the price sheets. There is a retail price, there's a member price. Anyone who buys $40 of product or over, the membership is free. So once you buy $40, you become a member, and you could always get member pricing. We only have small bottles of Superlax here, small bottles of male combination and the PMS, small bottles of the maintenance, and small of the Head Start. We don't have a huge supply here. If it's not here, use the free shipping. And our staff, it will be available Monday through Friday. Any questions, call them. If you can't get to Tim today, the staff will be available tomorrow morning. We open at 9:30 California time. That's 11:30 your time. So we're here for you guys all week to answer questions at the office, okay? Does anyone have a question? Does anyone have a question? Okay, there's up in the room over here to do some selling. We can take credit cards. We did bring a, what do you call that? The swipe. So we can take credit cards, okay?
All right, everyone. Has anybody been overlooked? We say that in church. All right, let's pray. Heavenly Father, God, we thank you for the gifts as well as the givers, God. We ask that you bless everyone who has been a part of this today. Bless these gifts, Lord God. May they just be multiplied to bless your work and your people. In the name of Jesus, amen. Amen. We're going to ask, Dr. Morrow's going to come back. When we get to the question session, when we get to the question and answer session, we need everybody mic'd. That way those who are even watching online will be able to hear your questions as well. So when you do have questions, raise your hand. We'll bring your mic. You'll be recognized. And then we will we'll take your questions. Doc.
Once again, everybody, I bring you greetings from the University of Common Sense in Torrance, California, and I really would like to be able to answer your question because that's the most important question in the world is when you, but if you got the classic things like diabetes and blood pressure and you're taking that kind of drug, remember this, I can't take you off your drug because I didn't put you on it. But I mean, if you want to know how to get off, you can't just stop taking drugs. You can't just do that. So I'll do my best to answer your question. And what I would do if I wanted, but myself, I take no drug. I just have this thing that if nature doesn't have the answer, man sure as heck doesn't. So I can't use any information that they have. And the other thing is, my fear of medicine and doctors and treatments is far outweighs my fear of death. Far outweighs my fear of death. So I have no fear. After all, I was dead before I was born. That didn't bother me. Okay, question. Anybody got a question? I'll be more than happy to answer it for you. Lady right there. Yeah. Oh, okay. The phone. Get the microphone. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. I just wanted to know if any of your products affect the heart rate or rhythm, especially like in a person who has AFib, specifically the Superlax or any of your other products. Does it affect, can a person with AFib take your product?
Yes. Afibrillation and all that kind of stuff, that's just words. But in my product called Cardio Health, there's an herb in it called hawthorn berry. Hawthorn berry builds you a new heart every 11 months. And where it grows on a bush about 2 feet tall, and it has on the vine, it looks like an upside down heart. The only other thing God could do is come down here and pick it for us. You know what I mean? But it will not affect anything. There's, first of all, no herb. The herb conflicts with nothing. Nothing. You can snort cocaine if you want to. It's not going to affect anything. Why? Because if it did, then you had to be careful about how much broccoli you eat or how many apples, because those are herbs. Okay? So they clash with nothing. All right? Yeah. And that means even if you take them together, they still don't clash with it. Herb clashes with nothing. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I have kidney problem. I'm in stage 3, and have other health problems like my heart and restless leg syndrome. And my son also is fighting, he's been fighting, trying to stay off the kidney machine since 2008. He was told this past week they may have to start him on dialysis. I need to know what can we do to sort of, I guess, like stop it in the track.
So let me ask you this. How do you know you have problems with your kidney?
My doctor. I have been to the doctor.
But you're telling me what somebody else said.
Right.
I don't want to know that. What I want to know is, having problem with your kidney, what is it doing to you? Don't tell me nothing your doctor said or your MRI or nothing. What is it doing to you? Because that's the only way I can help you. Otherwise, they're hearsay. You're not.
Okay, what it's doing to me, I noticed that I'm beginning to have a lot of protein in my urine.
No, ma'am.
Okay.
You don't know that. Somebody told you that.
Okay.
Somebody told you that.
The only thing I know is that when they gave me blood pressure medicine, they told me it was then I was into kidney failure.
Okay, that's what I hear everybody say that. But when I ask them, what is your kidney failure doing to you? Nobody can answer. And that's the only thing I can work off of is what you say. Not what they say, because I don't know anything about diseases. I don't know anything about that. I don't think God knows anything about diseases.
Then I don't know, because otherwise I feel
what I can do is, what I do have is, I have an herb that the only job it has on earth, build a new set of kidneys.
Okay.
Every 11 months. I can do my kidney health. You can use that. And I don't have no problem with my kidneys, but I take it daily. I don't have no problem with my heart, but I take that daily. Why? Because I don't want to cure anything I can prevent.
And okay, also for my heart, because I am in heart failure.
Okay, heart failure.
And because I've been in the hospital 2 or 3 times with this problem. I started retaining fluid, and next thing you know, I'm in cardiac arrest.
Okay, listen, everybody, because this is really important. The body holds fluid for one reason. One reason. The body will hold fluid for one reason. And that is because there's waste that it can't get rid of. So what it does, it sends water out to dilute the poison because it can't get rid of it. That's the body acting on your behalf. Because The body shares the intelligence of the great intelligence. And it will do whatever it needs to survive. Your body has never, ever, ever done anything against you. Never. It never will. You've done plenty against it, but it's never done nothing against you. You know, what's the first thing you think of when you hear the word tumor? End of the world is here. A tumor is a gift from God. A tumor is the body taking waste that it can't get rid of, puts it in a capsule so it don't get into your bloodstream and kill you. What does the doctor do? He cuts it open so all the poison gets out into the rest of the body. It's natural function of the body. Assist. Assist. You know what assist is? It's an organ enlarging in an attempt to do a better job because it doesn't have the raw material that it needs. What's the raw material? The herbs. It's that simple. There's one thing better than herbs on earth. Air. But amazingly, the plant captures the air, the water, and the sunshine. And that's what's released in your body when you take the earth. That's why they work. You understand? But especially the dialysis machine. I really want to talk about that for a minute because the reason why there's so many people on the dialysis machine across the country.
Dr. Mara.
Yeah.
Dr. Mara.
Yeah.
I have a question. My son is type 1 diabetic, and he's on insulin since 8 years old.
You know where the insulin comes from that he's taking?
I just want to know.
Comes from pigs, monkeys, and dogs.
Uh-huh.
That's where it comes from. They're shooting something directly into your son's bloodstream, whatever it is. God does not allow us in our bloodstream except through the mouth. In fact, the bloodstream is God's territory. You're sailing on uncharted waters. I don't care what it is. Nothing is to go directly into your bloodstream. Everything is to go through your mouth. It is protected by all the things that God gave us. Then and only then is it allowed into your bloodstream. So your son is taking that simply because they said so. Now, the problem with that is, number one, they don't have to prove it. And number two is, they're the one who's going to profit from the treatment. So, number one, change your son's diet. He's not a cow, so stop eating the pizzas. You understand? Because that cheese is a killer. That's number one. Get off if you get him off the dairy products and the sugar, we're not doing anything else without even taking the Superlac. Just those two things. And you could watch your son get over it. But
one other question, what about the immunotherapy that they're talking about curing diabetes? What is that?
Medicine cures nothing.
Okay.
They tell you, we cure nothing. Medicine cures nothing. They treat everything, they cure nothing, and they tell you that. So when they start talking about cure, they're not going to cure you of anything. Only an herb can cure you. Yeah. Yeah, but I have an herb called, incidentally, let me tell you a few insulin things that has insulin. Number one is watermelon, natural insulin, cucumber, zucchini, green beans, golden seal. Those are natural insulin. I carry the golden seal, and I also carry the pancreas reg. Pancreas reg is to regulate the pancreas. All he has to do is just take it. But these are something that somebody else named for you, and that doesn't mean that it has any authenticity to it. Oh. Here you are, man.
Hello?
Okay.
Yes, Dr. Mara, my name is Pamela. My biggest problem is vision.
Okay.
I have a condition called uveitis.
Called what?
Uveitis.
UTI?
UVI uveitis. It's left me legally blind.
Legally blind?
Yes, sir.
How much insulin do you take?
I take 40 in the morning and 30 in the evening.
Now you know why you're blind. Because the side effect of insulin is that
Yes.
you'll lose your eyesight.
Yes, sir. I have lost it totally in my left. My retina and my optic nerve has been destroyed. So do you have a herb that I cannot see faces, you know, but you know, I'm attuned to voices, silhouettes or whatever. You know, I don't see.
I have an herb called Head Start. Head Start's good for the eyesight, hearing, taste, smell, memory, retention, recall. In fact, when you start taking it, within 2 days, you're going to have a runny nose. That's getting the mucus off your brain. When you get that mucus, if that mucus hardens on the brain, become plaque, they call that Alzheimer's. So you can do something about that. All you have to do is just use it. Because let me tell you this, whatever the herb can cure, it will cure. It probably won't grow you a new foot if they cut your foot off. You understand? I wouldn't lay claim to that, but I wouldn't even say that it don't do that. I never saw it do that. But remember that you have to keep that in mind is that if you want to be well, do what I'm doing. You use to prevent. One of the herbs that I put together in there is called daily maintenance, daily preventive and maintenance program.
Dr. Morrow.
Hold on just a second. One of those things that I put together was that daily preventive and maintenance program. It's got 24 herbs in it. It works on every cell in the body at the same time. And that's the reason why it dumps a lot of waste into the bloodstream. And that's why I use it, because the superlax then gives it a way out. So that's something that you can keep that in mind. That daily maintenance program is awesome. I tell you to take like four every day. I start my day off with 35 of them. Go right ahead.
Yes, I just do you have anything for sciatica?
For what?
Sciatica.
For the sciatica.
Yeah.
Ask me, do I have anything for the sciatica nerve? There's an herb called skullcap. Skullcap. SKULLCAP, and I carry that product. And it's excellent for the nerves below the waist. And those two are the largest nerves in the body. They run down both legs. And I mean, sometimes it scares people how quickly it works. Because I'm going to tell you something. Taking nerves is not something that starts working on you a year, a month, a week later. An hour after you take it, it's in your bloodstream. So it's that basic and that simple. Okay?
Okay, just a second. We're trying to recognize you all in order, and we have some people in the back that have some questions. So just a second. We're going to get to you, but let's just be kind and courteous to each other. Okay, to the back. You can sit down. You can sit down.
Number one is you want circulation out there. The only thing that heals is blood. Blood circuit. The extremities are the hands, the head, the feet. Those are the farthest points from the heart. So you want to pump blood and lymphatic fluid out to them. That herb that I just put it together too. It's called capsicum and ginger. It circulates blood to the extremities. The other one is called capsicum and ginger. CAPSICUM. Capsicum is red cayenne pepper. Capsicum and ginger. But those are two things that circulates blood to the extremities. The other thing you need is called cardio help, because it builds the heart and it makes the heart strong enough to pump to those. And always start with superlax. Always start with superlax. Please, nobody in here, don't take no herbs without taking the superlax, please. I don't want nobody calling me and saying, oh, they made me sick. Yeah, of course you did, because you start, the waste is circulating around in the bloodstream. We want pure blood to circulate out there. Okay? Those things there. Oh, because of what it is, the ultra relief builds bones. The ultra relief builds bones. Like 2 to 4 a day. The reason why I say that is because the body can only absorb so much calcium at a time. Because calcium is our bones, our teeth, our nails. It can only take so much at a time. So no use in putting in a bunch of it. But like 2 in the morning and 2 in the evening can get that thing can start to get well. All right. After 8 weeks, come on, that thing should be in better shape than it is. You know. So, but did they put it in a? They put it in a cast. That's why it's that. Because what you lost then was you lost the 2 things that really will help you to heal. You lost the sunshine and the air. Those are 2 healers. So when they put that plaster of Paris on it, there's there's none of the natural functions of the getting to it. So that's the reason why it's been that long.
Okay, next. Just 1 second. Okay.
Okay. I have rheumatoid arthritis and poor blood circulation in my lower extremities, and I was wondering what you would recommend for that. Also, my niece has stomach cancer, and it's supposed to have affected most of the organs. It's metastasized inside her stomach. Would you recommend something regimen for her?
Say it metastasized?
Yes. It's spread, in other words.
Yeah. That's really strange, because the number one thing that the body does when something happens is it grabs it and puts it in a capsule.
Well,
so
that's what
when you tell me that it's spreading, that's somebody else told you that.
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know where this is supposed to be, but that capsicum helps tremendously to get rid of ulcers or problems with the stomach. But number 1 is Superlax. You get them on the Superlax number 1. Arthritis is nothing more than hard mucus. In fact, doctors have a nickname that they call arthritis. They call it cold on the bones. Why would they say, what does that mean? Cold on the bones. Let me tell you what it means. It means the same mucus that gathers in your lungs, they see it on your bones. And when it hardens, they call it arthritis. Okay? Now I have the herb called Superlax, number 1. And number 2 is lymphatic health. Lymphatic, lymphatic health. It moves mucus everywhere. And let me tell you something, folks. When I tell you about it moves mucus everywhere, it moves mucus. It's not, when you start taking that and then all of a sudden, you're coughing up all this mucus. The first thing you're going to say is, I got a cold, I'm going to the doctor. You've been to the doctor too many times when the body was trying to clean it up. When I tell you it's going to start bringing mucus out, it's going to start bringing mucus out. Be aware, and you're not going to be afraid. Stop being afraid of your body anyhow. God didn't give you a body so you can be afraid of it. Go ahead.
Okay, next.
Hello. It should be on. Hello?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right ahead.
Well, I just wanted to say, Dr. Morrow, it's a privilege to be here, and I'm just thankful for you and your wife, your daughter being in Mississippi. Thank you so much for that. And actually what I wanted to ask you was in regards to hypoglycemia. This was several years ago, but I went to church.
You're breaking up. Keep that closer to your mouth. Yeah.
Hello? Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Go ahead.
basically what I was studying several years ago regarding hypoglycemia. And I was at a restaurant after church and got relatively lightheaded to the point where I had fallen out or blacked out. So went to the doctor, and the doctor mentioned that he diagnosed it as hypoglycemia, which is low blood sugar. I'm not a diabetic or anything like that, and I have not experienced that episode before, but I have experienced, you know, being lightheaded if I haven't eaten in a timely manner, or, you know, being kind of having the shakes a little bit, or things of that nature. And I'm just kind of what would be a good regimen, and also what would be a good, as it relates to vegetables, fruits, or what have you, good to eat to help with it on a day-to-day basis?
Well, number one is changing the diet but when I say change the diet, one of the first things you do is get dairy products out of your diet. Humans cannot break down a cow's milk. The milk of a cow is made for the bulk of a cow. The calf is going to one day weigh 1,000 pounds. The milk is to put the weight on the calf and put it on fast, or the calf will perish. When we drink it, it does the same thing to us. It puts weight on us. When you figure out the what do they call it? The steroids they put in the cow, you can see why America is almost the size of a cow now. That's what we've done to ourselves with that. But
what about almond milk?
Huh?
What about almond milk?
Milk from any plants, and not just almond milk. Milk from any plants. But you shouldn't drink the milk from any animal on earth. You shouldn't eat the animal either, but we do. But the bottom line, we certainly shouldn't drink the. You know what happens when you drink a cow's milk? You suffer with whatever the cow suffers with. So so changing that diet, but that name that they give it, it's just a name. What I want to know is, what is it doing to you? Don't tell me what the doctor said. Don't tell me about blood tests, because that's still the doctor. What is it doing to you? When you tell me what it's doing to you, I can work with you.
Basically, I would state that if and you're supposed to have your breakfast, your lunch, and dinner, and then your 3 small snacks in between, if that's correct, a total of 6 meals a day. So the way I would feel if I don't eat in a timely manner, I would get lightheaded. My vision can be blurry. I can experience a little bit of the shakes. That's what I have experienced.
Number one thing to do is overcome your constipation, because that's what you're describing to me.
Gotcha.
And I'm going to tell you, sometimes in 3 days, that kind of stuff will disappear just because you took care of the colon. And take care of the colon, not just for the next 6 months or the next 6 years. Every day. And don't come up with this 30, 60, 90-day cleanse. You eat every day. You cleanse every day. And this is a way of life. If you don't have time to take care of yourself, I don't know what to tell you. But taking care of yourself means at 83 you can roller skate. I'm not kidding.
Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
Listen, I learned to roller skate incidentally when I was 47. Learned to ice skate when I was 57. Wow. I'm still doing both of them. Love them. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. For someone that suffers from chronic insomnia, what herbs do you recommend? How much do you take? And how long will it be before you see results?
Okay, number one is, the first thing is if you're not sleeping, the first thing is go back and ask yourself, what am I doing? Or what am I not doing? And number one is, one of the things that keeps you awake is taking drugs, taking medication. The elderly are awake all night. In fact, the people that put on their infomercials, put them on in the middle of the night. Why? Because the elderly are not sleeping. That's when they get their orders. Why? Because the elderly are taking drugs. They're taking medication, gets into the bloodstream, runs over the nervous system, and it's just tough to sleep. We carry the herb called nerve control, also Head Start. Head Start. Yeah, Head Start works on the brain. That is the main nerve. The body is the brain, and the superlife. And if you're taking those, for you guys that ain't having no more sex life, that's because some drugs you're taking. They tell you, you can take this, but it's going to affect your sex life. Well, if it affects my sex life to the negative, I ain't about to take it. Yeah, I mean, it's according to where your thoughts are about it, but as for me, I didn't take them when I was a boy. I never was a druggie. I never taken an Anacin, a Bayer, or a Tylenol. But I never had a headache. Even in my drinking days, I never had a headache. So I don't know what they're talking about, so taking that. But always be careful of the drugs that you're taking, because there is no good drug.
I'm not on any.
Huh?
I'm not taking any.
Yeah, but let me tell you something. Vitamins, 90% of them are made by drug companies. Hospital stays, shots, all that is part of it. I ask people about taking drugs. Absolutely, I take no drugs whatsoever. I have never taken no drugs in my life. But I see that, yes, they are. And they're telling the truth. They're saying, I don't take a drug. But they've had 6 surgeries. That's you drugged out of your mind. You know?
How much to take of each?
Oh, it tells you on the bottle. But let me tell you what I do. I suggest, amount per person to take, but you can always take more than I say. The only way you don't is because, especially if you are a druggie, if you're using a lot of drugs, they will bring the drugs out quickly. They'll start bringing the drugs, and now you feel sick. You understand? It's actually called withdrawal. I call it a healing crisis, because the body can only heal you if it can get that stuff out of you. You need to be ready for that. You need to be ready to know. But if you use it in moderation, then the wonderful thing about the herb is you can toy with them night and day. You can't do that with a drug. You can see what fits you. Today I'm going to take 6, tomorrow I'll take 2. Next day I'll take 12. It's never going to harm you. The drug is never going to help you, but we take it. It's never going to help you. You understand? The herb is your heritage. It will make no difference whether we like that, dislike, or stand neutral on it. The herb is your heritage. That's what a vitamin is not your heritage. A mineral is not your heritage. God put everything in plants. That's everything you need, including the ability to digest the plant. You know, God was all inclusive. That's the reason why I use herbs only. And I'm an herbalist and I'm an herbivore. Whatever it is that's wrong with me or not wrong with me, I'm going to take the herbs. Because I want the body strong. So when something tries to get in, it's destroyed. It's that simple. That's what this is really about. It's about, and I just said it a while ago, I do not want to cure anything that I can prevent. Because prevention is pregnant with cure.
Okay, next.
How you doing? My name's Eugene Hatchett.
Hey, Gene.
I used to take herb lights, and I stopped because the guy that I was getting from, he passed away, and he lived to be 100 years old. And I had I had a heart attack, and I didn't know it.
No, sir. Somebody else told you that.
Well, I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah. But somebody told you that. See, you're telling me what somebody else told you. What did the heart attack do to you?
Well, that morning I got up.
That
morning I got up to go to work, and I just felt bad, and I laid back down. I laid down for 20 minutes and got up, and I drove 100 miles to Jackson. Then, after I got to my truck, I went to sleep and got up again, and I went to work, So the next day, I went to the doctor, and the doctor, that's when he told me I had a heart attack. And he asked me, how could you do all of this?
You got good insurance?
Yeah.
That's why you had a heart attack.
But after they put an stent in me and everything, he told me he couldn't find out why my blood pressure wouldn't go up or down, it just stayed normal. He said he gave me a blood pressure pill just for protection, but I don't take them. But yet and still, you know, I still have some of the symptoms that I had that day.
Okay, you want to get rid of them? I'm just what you told me. I can tell you exactly what's going on with you. You're constipated. If you don't take care of it, you're not going to get well. That's how simple it is. Oh, you can make it as complicated as you want to, but that's how simple it is. You use 1 week of taking the herbs and having 3 bowel movements a day will change your attitude and your life. But you just told me exactly what's going on with it. And especially true when the doctor says, we can't find out what it is. And remember this, folks. Remember this. Always remember this. In the medical field, it's always more profitable to look for a cure than to find one. That's the reason why there is no cure for cancer today. You know, Dick Nixon said in his term, we will get rid of cancer before my term, as I would say, that was the Cancer Society said, no, Mr. Nixon, we'll get rid of you before we get rid of cancer. So I'm telling you, get the Superlax. But 2 things, especially for you guys, the Superlax and the male combination. The male hormone combination takes care of that prostate. But it's also your strength, your ability to do a day's work, your sense of well-being comes from your hormones. And they're real hormones. They're plants. When I tell you I don't use anything but the plant, I truly mean nothing. I don't use anything. My herbs are not plant-based. My herbs are plants. That's all this. When you say plant-based, there's something else in it. Nothing in mine. Okay? It's that simple. St. John's wort is a great nervine herb, excellent for the nerves. And everything we feel is through the nerves. You can take St. John's wort 20 times a day, and it will never put you to sleep. It will allow you to sleep, but it will relax the nerves. And when you're talking about the eye, one of the things I put together, and I actually put together Head Start for me. I was not going to sell Head Start. I just wanted, because I was in my 50s and I was losing my memory. Remember I told you I fly airplanes and helicopters. They're just some things you don't forget, or it can be fatal to you. I either had to get a memory or stop flying. So I decided to do the Head Start, and I put together all these herbs that work on the brain. And the first thing that happened to me when I started taking them was I got a runny nose. I got a runny nose. And I realized this is cleaning the mucus off the brain. So the number 1 thing it's good for is the eyesight, hearing, taste, smell, memory, retention, recall. Because if that mucus hardens on the brain and becomes plaque, they name it Alzheimer's. I don't think anybody in here wants any of that. So that's it. And be aware. Because when I say you're going to get a runny nose, people go, oh, yeah, I'll probably get a runny nose. You're going to get a runny nose. And in 2 days, 3 days, that's beginning to happen to you. So when you get a runny nose, you're not getting sick, you're getting well. You're getting well. That's the mucus coming out. You put that in 1984. It's coming out now. Okay? That's simple. Keep that in mind. The herbs are going to bring waste out. Allow it to happen. Jump up and down for joy when that happens. Okay? Yeah.
Greetings. Greetings, everyone.
Greetings.
Bring you greetings from Lafayette, Alabama. It's going in and out.
It's kind of breaking up.
Oh, I'm going to try to pack this in. Inflammation, what herbs could you use for that? Which do you cleanse first? You started with the colon. Do we go to the gallbladder, the kidney? And then could you elaborate on the healing crisis? Because I think the Lord blessed me, and your site just popped up out of nowhere, and we were doing a revival. And so my family and I, we started doing a cleanse, and the Lord started adding on to that. And when he did that, your video just popped up out of nowhere. And that's what we started doing. So after we started doing the Cascara Sagrada, Hawthorne, Mullen, and some more things, it's like I felt ill that night, just got sick. And the next day, your video popped up again, honestly. And you were talking about the healing crisis. I went to the doctor, my wife, it was Sabbath afternoon, went to the emergency room. I thought I was finna die, honestly. And I didn't want to worry my little boy, my little girl. And I just didn't. So we got to the doctor. They took my blood pressure. It was good. They checked, did an EKG and some more stuff. Everything's fine. And then they put me, she said, let's just take your x-ray of your chest. And everything was good. And I still didn't understand the healing crisis. So I just wanted to see if you could elaborate on that. I know that's a lot, but I'm saying this to go along with as a testimony to some of the things that you've been sharing.
Okay. All right, I hear you, and I hear you. Because the healing crisis is really something to look into. It's the same as withdrawal. That's all that's actually happening is it's withdrawal from the drugs, from the food, from the shots, all the stuff that's still in us. And it's now coming out. It's called a healing crisis. The body is healing from that. That's when you should be jumping up and down for joy. You don't feel very good at that time, but I talk about it so much, I have people looking forward to it. Having people look forward to getting into that healing crisis. They call me and say, come on, I haven't gotten my healing crisis. You're not necessarily going to get into a healing crisis. But what does happen is when you're taking a lot of drugs, and those drugs have to come out, that's when you see the biggest healing crisis of all. But when the sugar is coming out, don't forget, the world's most popular drug is sugar. That sugar coming out, the cheese coming out. See, the cheese is something else, folks. You just don't know it. But the cheese is really something else. That's why we drown in our own mucus, you know? You know, it's kind of strange that you talk about that, because one day I got a call from a guy who was on the dialysis machine. And he said, I was sitting on the dialysis machine and I was taking a treatment and I dropped my phone. And when I picked the phone up, you were on there talking about me. The guy's off the dialysis machine there. It was about 5 years ago he said that. But he got on a program, he got off the dialysis machine. So God does what he needs to do. But I want to answer your question so you're not afraid. Stop being afraid of your body. It's the best friend you ever had. And it's your humble servant. It's always working to make you well. Have you ever been laying in the bed in the morning and all warm and cozy and fuzzy, and the body is saying to you, oh, let's don't go nowhere. Let's lay here forever. And you get up and you go walking, and you walk along and the body goes, wow, this is great, man. Let's never stop walking. Why? Because it's your humble servant. It wants to do what you're doing. Make it do what you want to do. You are the captain of your ship. You're the what we've done is we've given it over to somebody who's not even a member of the crew. The poor doctor, he don't know he's sick too. I remember Malcolm X 50 years ago saying, has anybody ever noticed that doctors die from the same diseases they treat us for? He's trying to tell you they don't have the answer. You do. You do. You within. Remember, most of us are Bible-toting Christians. Most of us, Bible, we believe in God. We believe, except Lord, when it comes to cancer, Lord, I got it. I can't trust you with this one, Lord. This is too big for you. You know what I mean? That's the way we are. Cancer's a word. It's not a disease. Let me tell you a quick story. Story about a guy named Nick. Nick was a big guy. I mean, physically he was a big guy. He worked in the train yard, loading and unloading trains. Nick was a good employee, got along good with other employees, dependable, on time. Nick had all the qualities he needed. He had one problem. Always worried. What's going to happen to my wife? What's going to happen to my car? What's going to happen to my house? What's going to happen to my whatever? One day they gave all the employees off an hour early so they could go home and prepare for a party they were giving for one of the foremen. Well, Nick was excused also, but somehow Nick found himself locked in a refrigerated boxcar. Nick knew he could not last the night in a refrigerated boxcar where the temperature gets down to well below zero. Nick beat on the doors until he was bloody, screamed until he had no voice, but nobody heard. Everybody's at the party having fun. Somewhere during the night, Nick found a piece of cardboard on the floor, and he had a pen in his pocket. He wrote on the cardboard, "Getting colder. If someone doesn't find me soon, these may be my last words," he wrote. And sure enough, that's what they were. The next morning when they opened up that boxcar, Nick lay slumped over in the corner, dead. Furthermore, the autopsy said Nick froze to death. The enigma to the story was that the boxcar that Nick was in that night was in for repairs on the refrigeration unit that did not work. And the prevailing temperature in that boxcar that night was 61 degrees. How could Nick freeze to death? 61 degrees. Right here, folks, the power of suggestion. Right here, he froze to death. Anywhere in the night, Nick could have said, "I don't care how cold it is in here, I'm going to make it through this night." He'd have found I'd need to take his jacket off. It was 61 degrees in there. But now that can't happen to us. No? Can't possibly happen to us. Go to the doctor. The doctor says, "How you feel?" Go, "I feel great, doc. I feel great." And the doctor says, "You're not dizzy?" I go, "Dizzy? What you talking about, doc? You must be dizzy. Ask a question like that. Why you ask a question like that?" And the doctor said, "Because your blood pressure, I just took it, and it's 6 million over 600 million. And he goes, It is? The power of suggestion. The power of suggestion. That's the reason why Christ said, "As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he." That's not empty words. Remember, God said, "My words ain't coming back to me void." I said that. I mean that. That's what we need to do. But we are already victims of medicine. We already are victims of medicine. And it's hard to unlearn. Can't unscramble eggs. What do you think it was like for me when that doctor pulled his chair up to me and says, "I have terrible news for you"? I said, "What's up, doc?" He goes, "You have prostate cancer." I said, "Okay." And he goes, "You hear what I said?" I said, "Yeah, you said I got prostate cancer." "That's right." He goes, "What are you going to do about it?" I said, "Right now, I'm going to go play some tennis because I got a tennis date. I'll see you in a couple of weeks." I showed up 3 weeks later, and they couldn't wait. "You need chemotherapy, you need surgery, you need radiation." So I said to the doctor, "What causes prostate problem?" And he leans back in his chair and he goes, "We don't know." I didn't know that was God talking to me that morning when he said, "We don't know." I said, "Well, then if you don't know, how are you going to help me get well?" And he said, "Because there was 2 other guys in the room. We're the experts." And I said, "What? We don't know? You just told me you don't know, and now you're an expert." He had changed to 3 shades of green by that time. But I got out of there while I was still behind. I never had none of their treatments, never had no treatment, no surgery, no nothing. Today, my 23-year-old is living proof. I was 60. I was 43 when I started my problem. I was 48 when I fired them. I was 60 when I fathered her. Everything working perfect. But you have to realize that only you can heal yourself. You are the only person on earth. That puts the ball in our court. God said the ball's in your court, but I gave you everything that you need to be well with. Everything you need. Every plant is there for our benefit. What I've done was the best that I could was I put a few together that work. But if you put God's herbs together, they will work for you. All you have to do is just take them. You don't even have to believe in them. They'll make a believer out of you. Yeah.
Dr. Morris.
Yeah.
So glad you're here, coming from California. Overweight and high blood pressure is where I found myself in September 2015. And around November, October, I saw your video, what the doctors don't want you to know, what the doctor isn't telling you. And I listened to that, and I saw some of the things you said. In 2016, well, actually December, I think we started on your herbs. The Superlex, number 1. In 2016, I took your stop eating meat and dairy products. And using those herbs, I was pushing over 220. Now I'm down to about 175. Blood pressure is...
That's where I went from 218 to 180.
Yeah.
Yeah, same thing, doing the same thing you did.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And like I said, I did the Superlax, I did the men's formula, and it's been amazing. And when I found out you was going to be here, I said, we have to be here. But those herbs just started working on my body, blood pressure, weight, everything. And like I say, I stopped using the blood pressure pills.
Yes.
On them in December, I said, I had 1 pill left. I said, okay, I'm just going to stick with the herbs. And if I fall off track, I'll go back to the medicine. But I've been staying on track, and like I said, that was 15. I haven't took a blood pressure pill since. And now the doctor, I go just do check. I have never told him that I haven't been taking his pills, but he's bragging on how good my blood pressure is, thinking that it's his pills doing it. When I go to December, I let him know I haven't took your pills 2 years now. So I'm with the herbs, but the men's formula, everything's been going good. But like I said, we started your herbs in 10-month-old, so everything is working fine. So a lot of things been changing.
Let me tell you something about blood pressure. The blood pressure machine this year is 80 years old. I'm 83. So what was I doing? Waiting for him to make that machine so I can find out whether I'm well or sick? What am I waiting for him to make now so I can find out whether I'm well or sick? See, my problem is I don't need nobody to tell me whether I'm well or sick. I'll tell you. I'm the captain of this ship. There are no members of the crew. What I say about this unit is final. I had to tell that to the last doctor I saw. Didn't matter, doc. If you're 100% right, I'm 100% wrong. What I say about this unit is final. You're not a member even of the crew. In fact, you're a hired hand. Anybody I hire, I will fire them. So take responsibility for your health, because you also take responsibility. You also make a decision when you make no decision. You're just doing it by default. You're doing it by default. Being afraid of your body is being afraid of the creator that made you. You can't do that. He ain't that kind of a creator. But remember this. Remember this. Fear is absolute faith in Satan. Okay? Keep that in mind. Satan makes everybody fearful of the body that God gave you. You know, he makes us fearful of it because that's all he has. All God has is his love that he was given, and he shows it in every way. The air we breathe, the sunshine, even the poison food we think is poison, Not necessarily so, because if they put that stuff on the plant while it's still in the ground, you know, the best filter on earth is the ground. It goes back in there. Don't forget, the chemical came from the earth too. You understand? So if they put that on that plant, and that plant's still alive in the ground, it just goes back into the ground. Man is not going to outdo God. He just thinks he is. He just thinks he is. He thinks that genetically modifying food is going to do everything. God must have knew this was going to happen. I think he made preparations for it. Okay, simple as that.
Hello, I have a 5-year-old. She was diagnosed with food allergies, so we've taken the dairy completely out of her diet and wheat as well as a lot of stuff. So she's pretty limited as far as what she can eat. And I was looking at your Endurance, the raw vegan protein. Would that be okay for a 5-year-old? If so, what dosage, and would there be anything else that you would recommend?
Yeah. Let me say something while you ask that question. Everything on that sheet, there is nothing on that sheet that an infant baby can't use. Nothing. You understand? An infant baby can use anything that's on that sheet. Anything that's in my place, an infant can use. And when you talk about food allergies, you're talking about feeding that kid some cheese or some milk or some yogurt or some. You have an allergy to that. All adults have an allergy. You can't drink a cow's milk simply because you're not a cow. No other reason. The molecular structure is too big for a human to break down, and so the milk is trying to get, especially a baby, especially a kid that age, it's got to try and come out some way. How many of you heard of the disease called SIDS? Oh, SIDS, sudden infant death syndrome. That's what it means. You know what that is? It's crib death. It's feeding an infant baby a cow's milk. The baby can drink the milk because it's liquid, but when it throws it up, part of it goes back into the lungs and they drown in the milk. That's all it is. Nothing else. They can't drink that milk. So, yeah, that would be excellent for him, and he doesn't have food allergies. And let me tell you something. When you start giving them drugs for that, you're playing Russian roulette with a submachine gun. That baby ain't got a chance, because it's going to dry up everything. And then remember what I told you, folks. The first sign of real illness is the snotty-nosed baby that can't even walk yet. At 70, he drowns in that mucus.
Is there a dose for ages on the bottle, or is it just an adult dose?
No, just give them half of what adult, and you can give it to them all day. Remember that too, folks. I may say take 4 in the morning and 4 in the evening. You can take these herbs all day. You don't have to have no certain way to take them. Remember, before pills came out, it was in the form of tea. You drink it all day. You can still do that. But that baby can take anything on there. If it's a boy, he can take the male hormone. He's just as much a male as his father at birth. Same thing with a little girl. You know, and it's in the food that we eat. It's in the natural foods, fruits, vegetables, nuts. It's in that. You know what I mean? So if you're feeding them that, if you ate correctly, you wouldn't have to use these herbs. But the food that we eat is foodless food. Doesn't have anything in it. So we try and make up in some kind of a manner, because look at us. Look at us as humans. It amazes me that people, when they talk about transplants, they want transplants for black people. Did you ever hear that? Look at the shape we're in, and they want to transplant from black people. Why? Because they said the organs are stronger. But everybody is reproducing themselves every minute of every day. There's no need to have a transplant. And who's walking around going, oh, I got to take care of my kidneys because I may be a transplant one day. You know, use somebody else's old worn out organ in you. Let me tell you what will take you away from wanting to have an organ transplant. My brother immediately under me, he died at the age of 65. My brother was worn out. My brother snorted cocaine, shot cocaine, 6 packs of cigarettes a day. My brother did anything he could. How he lasted 65 years is beyond me. But let me tell you what happened when he died. I got a call from the people asking me if they could have his body part. You could have transplanted a hair out of my brother's head and they would have died instantly, whoever it was. That's what kind of shape he was in. You know what I'm saying? So that's what they're going to transplant in you. No, let me keep what I got. I'm taking a chance with what I got. Same way with the disease. When you look at the side effect of the drug you're going to take for it, makes you happy you got what you got. Because the side effects will kill you. Yeah.
Hey, I have sarcoidosis, been 13 years in. Doctors told me there was nothing else they can do for me, which I didn't listen to that because I decided to live. I'm going to 2 different states now seeing doctors, going through transplant evaluations.
That's the nicest word you can hear from a doctor.
Well, one doctor told me no and the other ones are moving forward, so I think I'm rolling with the one who said no because we kind of had a better discussion and the reasons being. So.
Do you know what sarcoidosis actually is? It's mucus in the lungs. They got all kinds of names. They call it bronchial, cold, flu, consumption. They got all these names, but it's mucus. What you tell me, where's the mucus coming from? That's what you're eating. That's what you're putting in you. And especially true of any dairy products. And then the worst part is when you take something to overcome it because it dries it up. Listen, we got this much breathing room in each lung. That's how much we breathe. We almost pant. We almost pant. You got this much breathing room and you use that much. And so it fills up with mucus. But sarcoidosis is nothing but mucus. They got all these names they call it. But it's just mucus. What are you going to do? There's 2 things. Number 1 is lung health, L-U-N-G, the lung health. The other one is mullein, M-U-L-L-E-I-N. Mullein softens mucus. It softens this mucus. And now this mucus can not only come out this way, it can go out through the bowel as well. But let me tell you something, folks. Let me tell you something. There is no disease on earth like the inability to breathe correctly. There ain't nothing like it. If you ain't never had it, you don't never want it. And if you ever had it, you don't ever want it again. Because you can't toy with the lungs. You can toy with all the organs of the body. You can't toy with the lungs. Why? Because you can probably go 40, 50 days without food. You might even be able to go 15 days without water. 6 short minutes without air, and the fat lady can sing because it's over. You need to understand you can't toy with the lungs. So that's the 2 dudes that I keep working the best as I can. That's the reason why I use that the lung health. I use that every day. And what you want is when somebody says, I don't have a cold, that's the worst words you can say. You want a cold, that's getting the mucus out. That's bringing the mucus out. Unless you get it all out through the bowel. But when you bring it, and every cough should produce mucus. There should be no dry cough. You got a dry cough, you dried it up with something. And a baby aspirin will dry it up. Don't let them fool you. Well, it's just a baby aspirin. Baby aspirin can actually take it long enough. It can actually thin the blood out enough where they can't stop the bleeding, and you can bleed to death right in front of them. So don't underestimate a baby aspirin at all. I got a question here, right here.
Mine is the big A. Is there a herb for Alzheimer's?
For what?
Alzheimer's?
Yes. That's why I'm using the Head Start. The Head Start. But now you can use the Head Start. But once again, I'm going to tell you over and over again, because when I talk about Head Start, you're going to get a runny nose right away. Stop thinking that's your enemy, that's your friend. Because, I mean, and according to how much you use, it's a lot of mucus that will be coming out. You should be jumping up and down for joy whenever it is coming out. But it's going to happen. If you use it, it's going to happen. It's good for the eyesight, hearing, taste, smell, memory, retention, recall. It's good for everything in the head. Also, you can add to that the Superlax, of course, but the new one that just came out with capsicum and ginger. Why? Because that really circulates blood to the extremities, the hands, the head, the feet. Those are the farthest points from the heart. I think we have it here. You can check with them back there. We were not able to bring everything there because just too costly. No, but we fixed it so that if you want to purchase, you can purchase. We'll do the shipping for free for you.
You gave us the diagram on what happens to a woman who has had a hysterectomy. What do you recommend for those of us who have had the hysterectomy?
Number one is take care of the colon, because it was the colon that caused you to lose it anyhow. That continuous bleeding was because the mouth of the uterus would not close, so the endometrious lining kept coming off. Taking the PMS, which is real female hormone, all an herb ever does for any part of the body is brings the strength of the earth to the organ, and now the organ can do its own job. So what you want to do is just strengthen the uterus. The uterus would have closed up, and the period would have come and gone just like it would. But the continuous bleeding scared the hell out of every woman. Every woman gets scared when they're doing that bleeding, and so they get scared. A panicked person never makes the right decision. So that's what it is. So number one, take care of that colon. Why? Because remember that you've got that uterus is gone. So that T that small intestine was above is gone. So now you must make sure and take care of that colon, because that colon will take care of 10 other things, 10 other problems that you got just by using the Superlight. I mean, we get these big stomachs and find out the stomach begins to disappear. All that, that's all that is constipation. Over and over and over again. All I can tell you is if you don't do but one thing, take care of the colon, your health will get at least 50% better than it is. If you did do nothing else, just bought the Superlax. You know what I mean? Trouble is, you ain't never going to do that, because the better the Superlax makes you feel, the more you're going to want to do to feel better. So that's what it's all about. Feeling better is contagious. It really all it wants to make you do is feel better. That's the reason why I make it my business. I climb those 624 steps every day. I do that every day. Why? I like the way it makes me feel. So you got to get up and you got to do something about it. I ain't telling everybody you got to do what I do, but activity. The body is a moving machine. It's at its best when it's moving. Take care of the colon. Remember, colon, root of all disease. When you say root, that means the whole plant is either good or bad. Okay.
And piggyback off the Alzheimer's question, I have someone that I know who just discovered that she's starting to have Alzheimer's, and I asked her, what are you doing? Are you taking medications? But she has a fear of getting off the medications and taking herbs. Can a person take the herbs and the medication?
Of course you can. Remember, the herb is food. It clashes with nothing, even if you took them at the same time.
Okay.
But let me tell you this, though. Let me tell you this. All you should remember this. You know, the people start taking herbs and they feel good and they're gonna, and they'll run into a friend and their friend will tell them how good you look and all that. But you know, you should at least just go to the doctor once a year and have a checkup. And they make that mistake. And don't underestimate the power of suggestion. And of course, we got this doctor in our head as the man. And you start taking those. You've been on the earth for 4 or 5 years. You've done a lot of cleansing. The cleaner you get, the worse the drug will work in you. The cleaner you get. Why? Because it's got clean terror. That's how they wiped out the Indians so easy. Their systems were clean. They lived off the earth. And when they gave them those drugs from Europe, they died like flies. So just keep that in mind. If I were now to take a baby aspirin, something would happen that you could physically see. Something would happen, you know. But I may be crazy, but I ain't stupid. I ain't gonna try.
So much, Dr. Morrow. We just really appreciate you being here. Did we have? Okay.
Oh.
Quick questions, because we. This is a good one.
Never do a colonoscopy. Let me tell you why. Let me tell you what the clients. What I know, I learned from sitting in front of my client and listening to what they had to say. And this is what they tell me. They did the colonoscopy. When they woke up, the doctor says, we got to do surgery on you right away. We cut something while we were in there. I mean, it's just another way. That ain't free. Oh, no. They're going to charge your insurance company with that. You know what I mean? And you're saying, oh, my God, what can I do? Whether he did or didn't, doesn't matter. He said so. But the other thing is when people come to me and tell me they had, first thing they say is, I wish I had never had that colonoscopy, because now I see blood in my stool and I feel inside something is cut. That's a camera. That don't belong up there. That belongs in you.
Okay, and the question that I wanted Dr. Morrow just to elaborate on again is a lot of times of the shots. We have to take the flu shots, the vaccination, our kids. Could you just shed a little light on people taking shots?
Well, number one is shots. Blood, you know, God sees blood as very precious. That's his territory. I don't have a right to go directly into my own bloodstream. I have no right to do that. God doesn't give me any instrument that will do that. He says, you can go to your blood any time you want, Tim, via the mouth. Whatever you put in you is going to build your blood or destroy it or whatever. But I'm not allowed directly into my bloodstream. And there's a reason for that, is because people will take a shot and drop dead on the spot. Drop dead on the spot. So you know it was the shot that killed them. You understand? When you eat, you don't bypass the God system that God gave us. God gave us a system that will clean up poison in here. So everything you eat is to go through here and then filter through this system. You can take a shot in your foot. It actually reaches the heart before it has a chance to be purified. And people drop dead on the spot for a shot, but they don't stop getting shots. Why? Because that's too much money. I got out of the service because I was going to make a career out of the service. I got out of the Air Force simply because they had a shot a month. And I couldn't refuse. So I said, when I got out of there, I spent my 4 years and I got out of there. And I promised myself after that, as long as I remain big, black, and ugly, ain't nobody never going to give me another shot as long as I live. But if they insist, we were going to exchange shots. Mine was going to be from a 357 Magnum. Don't let nobody give you a shot. If you do, you're playing Russian roulette with a submachine gun.
Okay. We're going to have to end. It's kind of getting late, and I know the time is drawing nigh. But I think we have one more question in the back.
Okay, dialysis. The reason why the dialysis machine was invented was because of drugs, medication. It's 330 million of us in America. 330 million of us, Americans. And we all taking drugs. Well, what happened is they came to the realization that 20, 30 million people are having edema. What's going on here? They have the edema because they're taking drugs. Drugs constipate, so you can't get rid of the waste. So the body's second choice is send water out to dilute the poison. When they saw that, they had to come up with something. We can make some money off of this. Some way we can make some money off of this. And that's how the dialysis machine was invented. But it belongs to Satan. That machine belongs to Satan. But more than belongs to Satan, it slaps God's face. It says, my creator can't give me a set of kidneys that lasts me a lifetime. And he calls upon Satan to finish his work. No, God and Satan don't agree on nothing. That machine is truly satanic. I guess, other than Alzheimer's, I guess Satan is in his greatest glory. And you ought to know one other thing. 89% of the people on the dialysis machine over the world is black. That should be enough right there to raise a flag. That don't raise a flag for nobody. Boy, that does for me. That raises a flag for me. 89% of the people on the dialysis. Now, where is all these people getting all this money from to be on the, you know what they cost on that dialysis machine? $10,000 every time you go on there. That's 3 times a week. $10,000. That is, whether you know it or not, that's $1,560,000 a year per person. In fact, anybody in here can purchase stock right now on New York Stock Exchange. Oh, you're sick, huh? Well, let me make some money off of it. That's good old America. That's what we've done to ourselves. No? I hope I didn't offend anybody with anything that I said, but if I did, I offended you with the truth, and I can't change that. Thank you all, thank you so much for inviting me. I really appreciate that.
Thank you all so much. I know some people have traveled from out of town, and they're trying to get back home. Also, the herbs are available over here in this room. Make sure that you stop by the herbs that you need. Also, Sister Mara will be taking your email address if you want to get the newsletters and if you want to stay in touch. And I have one more lady that's going to stand up real quick and tell us where Dr. Mara is going next, where he'll be next. Just in case there's someone close in that area that want to be there, some of your friends or family, she's going to tell you where he's going to be next. Hello?
Hi, I'm Rashana Scott. He will be, nice to meet you, it's an honor to be here. Thank you all, everything was great. I'm from New Orleans, so he's going to be on Tuesday. He's going to be in Gretna, Louisiana. The address, you can check in online, but I know no one's going to remember, but it's 1101 Franklin Avenue, and it's in Gretna, Louisiana. It's going to be at the True Fellowship Christian Church. Seating time is at 6:30, and the seminar will be from 7 to 9.
So much. And I also just want to thank all those that helped out with the program, with the passing out the flyers. I would just like to stop and thank you for your help. Thank you so much.
Amen. I want to thank everyone for coming out. Doctor, I want to thank you. I just want to reiterate one other member of the team. One of the things that you emphasize, Doc, is that oftentimes the doctor isn't a member of the team. But there is one who is, and that is God our Father. And one of the things that I have learned, and I want to counsel all of us, is everything that you do with your body, you need to be able to say that, God, I sense that this is what you led me to do. Proverbs 3:5 says, in all of your ways, if you acknowledge God, not that he can, not that he might, but that he will direct your path. And so you've heard a lot of different things from a lot of different folk. Consult the first member of your team, which is your Heavenly Father. And he says if you acknowledge him, that he will direct your path. Thank you for coming out, everybody, and God bless you. Heavenly Father, God, we thank you for the things that you have given us, God. And Lord, I ask, Lord God, that you would help that text to be true where you said you wish above all things that we would prosper and be in health, even as our soul prospers. God, prosper our bodies, but mostly, Lord, we ask that you would also prosper our souls. Bless this team, Lord God, in the name of Jesus. Amen. Amen. God bless you. We're going to have some of those numbers that he gave, we're going to throw those on the screen. If you may have missed